start by welcoming Councilwoman Alexander back.
Thank you.
I understand you'd like to give a short report and have some other things you'd like to do.
I'm actually going to ask some of our student ambassadors to give a report, if that is
Okay,
okay.
sure.
If you guys want to stand up and, or maybe Joe will go first.
Well, I've been here before to report on our Masato trip, and once again, I have nothing but good things to say about the hospitality of our host, their welcoming us into their community, and their eagerness to see this sister city relationship continue to grow and flourish. And the new mayor made that point clear to all the adults at a dinner. And I won't take up too much time, except I will say that our friends from Masato will be coming October 29th. And I was down at the lake tonight looking at the cherry trees, and there are cherry blossoms starting to show up. And I would invite any of you, I'm going to put the pressure on them now, to join Mayor Peterson next spring when we travel to Masato for, I think, our 12th trip. And some of our student ambassadors would like to report on the trip to you.
Konbanwa, hajime mashite, watashi wa Griffin desu. Hi, good evening, my name is Griffin. I was an ambassador this year on the Japan trip, and there were just so many amazing things that we did, and it was life-changing because you just immerse yourself in the culture. And it's really hard to pick a favorite, but I think my favorite time, or a time that sticks out to me, was when I was with my homestays one night, and it was me and my friend Sam, and we stayed together. And we woke up that morning, and they said, "We're going to Ishinomaki." And I was kind of confused at first because I had no idea where Ishinomaki was. But they took us there, and we went to this beautiful lookout over the ocean, and it showed right where the tsunami got hit in 2011. And it was really devastating because it wasn't all fixed up yet, and there were still lots of areas that weren't all patched up from the tsunami that already happened quite a few years ago. And it showed pictures of, there were houses there, and a lot of people were hit right straight on, and it was kind of sad to see. But the views were, like, they were beautiful, and they were gorgeous. Like, the sakura was looking right over, and they were just blossoming when we got there, so it was the perfect time to go. And it was just so nice. And I got to see Mr. Lepley there, and a friend I made named Titus. I met a guy named Titus there, and it was right by this shrine. And this shrine, it was amazing, because we got to go ring the bells and we got to make a wish, and we also got to cleanse ourselves. We got to cleanse our hands and our mouths before we went into the shrine. And I think the coolest part about that was I had learned about that just a week before in social studies, because we were in our geography unit, and it was amazing to actually be there and do it, because a lot of the kids in my class were learning it through textbooks and videos, and I was living the moment. I was living a dream, and it was the fastest week of my life. I'm still kind of shocked because I'm thinking I was just in Japan a week ago. And I really think that this is an amazing trip, and it provides things that you can't learn in a classroom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Konbanwa.
Konbanwa.
Watashi wa Catherine Harding desu. Dozo yoroshiku. Good evening. My name is Catherine Harding. It's nice to meet you. I'm here obviously to speak a little bit about the Masato Japan trip, and I would just like to say that I think it's an extremely valuable experience because it completely throws you out of your comfort zone which is something I'm really passionate about and I think is really important because it pushes you to develop a sense of self. And I think that's especially for young people, it makes it a lot easier to navigate in this day and age when we're being pulled in a million different directions. But this trip has certainly impacted me, and I know it's impacted a lot of the other people who've gone before me and a lot of the other people who went this year. And I hope it's around for many more years to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hajiba Mashte, Watashi wa Lainey des, Dozo Yoroshiku. Hi, my name's Lainey, and I was an ambassador on the Japan trip this year. And there's not really any words to describe it because it was so amazing, but you just come back a changed person, and you have a whole new look on life, and everything is different. The cherry trees are beautiful, and everybody made friends for life. I know that a lot of the ambassadors are planning on going back too, just because they miss everybody already so much. And it was a great opportunity, and we should continue to have this program because there's everybody out of school is saying, I'm going to go to Japan, I'm going to go to Japan. And yeah, it's just an amazing opportunity, and it's an amazing place. Thank you.
Thank you.
So on top of the very gracious welcome that we received at the community dinner and the gifts that they gave us individually, the mayor and the community also wanted me to bring gifts back for the city. So the students over here are going to help us present them to the mayor. One was a representation of the tree planting ceremony, and another was just a gift that they had made for the city itself. And they are both there. One is the dogwood ceremony is the long one, and the other one is just a cultural photo. So if you guys want to come in.
Thank you very much.
And the fabric that Lainey is handing off is from the tree planting ceremony that we went to. The dogwood trees were a gift from the United States government to the Japanese people, and several cities in Japan received the cherry trees, and we planted, I think, about 8 or 9 dogwood trees around their statue of Princess Winona.
Are you excited about our doing?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry. They got some gifts that evening from the group, and then I presented the gift from us when I read your letter at the town hall at the actual city council chambers. And the mayor liked the gift quite a bit that Jamie Schell and Bob Kuiper created. Really beautiful. So he kind of oohed over that. It looked gorgeous, and they loved all the gifts they got from us. And that next day, they had the ones given at the community dinner up in the Winona room. So when we walked through, we were able to see all of the gifts given over the years from our city to theirs. It was a very nice trip.
Thank you. I'm sure you all did an excellent job of representing Winona.
The students certainly did.
I'm sure you did too. All right, well, I have 2 proclamations I'd like to read tonight. The first one is, whereas the 14th of May 2014 is designated as Winona County Law Enforcement Memorial Day, and is set aside as a day to honor all fallen law enforcement officers. And whereas the well-being of all citizens of Winona County and the United States is preserved and enhanced as a direct result of the vigilance and dedication of law enforcement personnel. And whereas more than 700,000 men and women at great risk to their personal safety presently serve their fellow citizens as guardians of peace. And whereas more than 100 peace officers across this nation were killed in the line of duty during 2013. And whereas all Winona area law enforcement agencies use this day to honor our fallen fellow officers who have made the supreme sacrifice for the citizens of Winona County and the city of Winona. And whereas this day also serves as a reminder of the dangers faced currently serving law enforcement officers in their day-to-day activities. And whereas our officers do not serve in a vacuum, but are assisted in many ways by the citizens of Winona and Winona County. Now therefore, I, Mayor Mark Peterson, do hereby call upon all the citizens of Winona County to join area law enforcement agencies in honoring our fallen officers on Winona County Law Enforcement Memorial Day on May 14th, I should add. And one other one here, I'd like to read this and then present it. Whereas travel has a positive effect on Minnesota and the nation's economic prosperity and image abroad to business productivity and to individual travelers' well-being, and whereas travel to and within the United States provides significant economic benefits for the nation, generating $2.1 trillion in economic output in 2013, with $887.9 billion spent directly by travelers, and whereas travel is among the largest private sector employers in the United States, supporting 14.9 million jobs in 2013, including 7.9 million directly in the travel industry and 7 million in other industries. And whereas travelers spending directly generated tax revenues of $134 billion for federal, state, and local governments, funds used to support essential services and programs. And whereas travel provides Minnesota residents 245,000 jobs and $4.3 billion in wages. For every $1 invested in Minnesota state tourism marketing, there is an estimated $84 in traveler spending and $8 in state and local taxes. In Winona County, more than $93 million in gross sales come from leisure and hospitality. Whereas international travel to the United States is the nation's #1 services export. In 2013, travel generated $139.6 billion in exports, creating a $53.3 billion trade surplus for the United States. And whereas meetings, events, and incentive travel are core business functions that help companies strengthen business performance, averaging a return on investment of $621.4 billion in direct spending and $91.9 billion in tax revenue for every dollar spent on corporate travel, align and educate employees and customers and reward business accomplishments. And whereas leisure travel, which accounts for more than 3/4 of all trips taken in the United States, spurs countless benefits to travelers' health and wellness, creativity, cultural awareness, education, happiness, productivity, and relationships. And whereas travel is a pillar of economic growth, creating jobs at a 19% faster rate than other sectors. Now therefore, I, Mayor Mark Peterson, do hereby proclaim May 3 to 11, 2014 as National Tourism and Travel Week in Winona, and urge citizens of Winona to join me in this special observance with appropriate events and commemorations in the city of Winona, Minnesota. And I see Pat Mutter, our Visit Winona Executive Director here, and I guess I'd like to present this to you.
Thank you to the mayor and city council for doing this proclamation. We are certainly very grateful for the attention given to travel and tourism. There are a lot of numbers and statistics here, but I think we saw travel in action today when we heard from the students. The world becomes a smaller place when we can travel and learn about each other. And I'm just delighted that we have the relationship with our sister city and that you have been able to participate in that. So thank you all. Stop by at the visitor center and let's all travel and get Winona known as a destination for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. I only have one other item just for the council's information, just to let you know that I've contacted the city attorney about a performance review on our city manager, and that this is the time of the year to be taking a look at that. And with his help, we're going to begin that process. So all of you will be contacted soon to begin that. So just to let you know. And that's all I have. Oh, city manager. Speaking of the city manager.
Keith has an update on the Emerald Ash Borer for the council. Thank you. Mayor and Council, I'd like to give just a brief update on the emerald ash borer. Late last week, the Department of Agriculture was in town again, reviewing sites and looking for the edges of where the emerald ash borer might be. And they did find additional areas. They did not get into the backyards. Typically, if it's in the boulevards, it's in the backyards as well. Some of the areas, we are already aware of the Valley Oaks. They found a couple more trees in there, in Valley Oaks. But one of the heaviest areas was the Clubview Drive area, which is really heavily infested. Some of the trees are just completely covered with evidence of the EA. Another area which was kind of a surprise was going down Mankato Avenue from the railroad tracks to the bike store. Any tree that has not been treated on the boulevard basically has signs of infestation. There also were some trees on either east or west of Mankato Avenue. Most of them are within 3 blocks or so of the railroad tracks. And then we have a couple of other spots in town that are not confirmed yet, but we think we see it in other places as well. Last year, I talked about last year we removed and replaced 100 trees. We treated 1,000 trees. This year, we're going to begin the process of removing trees in the area of the infestations. The DNR has contacted us and would like to award us another $40,000 for tree removal, and we're certainly going to take them up on that. The goal right now, with not giving a lot of thought to it, is that we're probably going to shoot for about 500 ash trees on the boulevards and the parks to come down this year. We don't have any plans for planting of trees this year, but we certainly will bring that back to the council for next year in the budget process. This year, I think we're busy enough removing trees and grinding trees and doing all of that. We have now prepared Prairie Island site for disposal of trees. The plan is initially to be burning of the brush and the trees. We're also still in communication, hoping to find a place that'll grind them for us and take all the grindings away. That's still a possibility. If we were in La Crosse or Twin Cities, it'd be a done deal, but it's a little further from here, so we're pursuing that. The city staff is available if people have questions. If they have emerald ash borer, we'll come out and mark them. Matter of fact, we're going to be out marking trees as it is. There are a lot of them in backyards, and we will get out and mark those trees, and if we find a way to notify and contact the property owners for that. Right now, the burn site, or the disposal site, is planned to be open Monday through Friday, not on weekends, but it'll be open during the week. If it gets, that's fluid, we'll have to see how that works in the future, but right now that's the plan. And then I will be putting together a news release and with more information and the location and getting it out to the public. Any specific questions?
You said the trees that were not treated. Was there any infestation on any of the treated trees?
Actually, yes. We did see some, but
So we don't know if it's prior or?
that's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. The ones at the Clubview Drive, in reality, as heavily as infested as those are, they've been there for quite a few years, 3-4 years.
Gotcha. Okay, and do we have a plan to treat any more? This year you're going to be awfully busy, but is there a plan to treat more?
Glad you asked that. We don't have a plan in place to aggressively treat them. We still have some chemical left, and we still have the people qualified to do it. So we can do some on a more sporadic basis, but we're not going to aggressively go after it.
Gotcha. Now, and how about for next year? Because that'll be coming up. You treated 1,000 last year. 2 to 3 years later, we have to either do it again or it's...
The plan is to do it on a 3-year cycle.
Gotcha.
And the strict label says do it in 2-year cycles, and all the recommendations is to do it 3 years.
Mhm.
We might have to shorten that depending how fast and heavy the infestation is, but right now we're still planning on a 3-year process.
Good. Thank you.
Keith, if a homeowner has an infected tree in their backyard and you mark it, are they given a certain amount of time to remove that tree?
If I had a magic wand, it would be gone right away. In reality, there's a certain time when it's not good to remove them, because that's when the bugs are flying around. So you want to do it before that or after that. So I don't know if we're going to have a deadline on doing that. If it doesn't get down, it gets more expensive the longer they wait, because the more dead the tree is, the more dangerous it is. So we're going to encourage them, but we don't have a deadline on it at this point.
Will you have an informational flyer or something
Yes.
to give to those homeowners?
Yep, we're going to put addressing all of that.
George?
if a tree is cut down in front of a residence, can that homeowner take that wood, cut it up for themselves and burn it?
Yes, we're gonna make that available. If they wanna keep it, they can do that.
But there's limitations.
They can't go outside the county. That's the main thing, you can't take it out of the county. That's against state law. Again, the ideal world is you cut it down and burn it right away. With the surrounding woods around here, it's probably not reality. The bug is all around us.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Keith. Anything else from the city manager? Okay. Roll call?
Mayor Peterson.
Here.
Councilman Thurley.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Alexander. Here. Iden.
Here.
Worzakowski.
Here,
And Double. Under the petitions, requests, and communications, item 3.1 is the Minnesota Beethoven Festival free concert street closure request at Lake Park on Sunday, June 29th.
I'd move to approve that request.
Motion by Michelle,
second that.
seconded by Pam. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.2 is a license agreement for the Boats and Bluegrass event at Prairie Island on September 23rd through September 28th. And the fast vendors are here if you have any questions for them.
I'd move to approve the request.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam. Discussion? Al?
Just a question after we heard our Public Works Director talk about Emerald Ash Borer and the burn site. Would that affect the activities in this event?
Mayor and council, neither of those events are on that side of the road. We're talking
Right.
on away from the main river, the south side of the road.
I understand, but if that's a burn site, there might be an issue.
We plan to burn on Saturdays. We certainly, with that event going on in a short time, we probably would shut it down and not burn.
Okay.
We don't want to cause problems for those.
Okay, good, thank you.
Glad you brought that up. Anything else? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.3 is a request for use of Levy Park by the Ragnar Relay on Friday, August 15th.
Move to approve the request.
Second that.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam again. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried.
Item 3.4 is a license agreement for the Great River Shakespeare Opening Night event on June 29th. And Lee Gundersheimer is here if you have questions.
I would move to approve the license agreement.
I would second that.
Motion by George, seconded by Pam. Discussion? Al?
My agenda item says June 27th. Did I hear the clerk say June 29th?
June 27th.
27th? I guess I must have misheard it. But it's from 4 to, the street blockage is from 4 PM to 1 AM. It's my understanding.
By the library.
Right, on Johnson Street. Okay. Thank you.
Just one question now, and I'm not against none of this, but the sale of the liquor is gonna be outside of the library or inside? And then you take it outside, or?
Chad, correct me if I'm wrong,
State your
but I
name- State your
believe,
name and address.
oh, my name is Lee Gundersheimer, and I'm at 475 East 3rd Street, or representing Great River Shakespeare Festival at 49 East 3rd. I believe the sale will be both inside at one of the desks and outside at a designated area on the street. So it will be cordoned off and kept away from anyone who is not part of the party.
Do I understand you can't get in the library without a library card that night?
No, you can get in, but you can't have a drink.
Will you be
So that will
issuing
be a little
library cards
frustrating.
that night?
Mayor, is there any way we could collect past due fines that night to take them in?
I would say after 2 drinks, sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
Other questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.5 is a request for permission to hold the Color Dash 5K at Prairie Island Park on Sunday, September 21st. And is Marissa here?
Yep.
Okay, if you have questions.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
I would move to approve, to grant permission to hold this event.
There's a motion by Pam. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by George. Discussion?
I have questions for
Okay.
Marissa, if I
Would
can.
you like to step to the podium, state your name and address?
Hi, I'm Marissa Norton, 560 Mankato Avenue.
Okay, Michelle?
Yes, I'm wondering about the cleanup part,
Yes.
because I was reading the letter, and I'm not really sure what they mean by not moving rocks or dirt. I mean, what is the cleanup process, basically?
The cleanup process is that mainly the color is 100% biodegradable and it washes away with water. So we will have at least 25 volunteers, plus the Color Dash has their own workers down, and they will, after the run, sweep and clean up like all the leftover garbage, and water will just wash it right off the ground. So it's, yeah, I'd say it gets pretty cleaned up. I mean,
Okay.
I know that's the main concern to this, so.
You just said pretty cleaned up.
Well, sorry.
You had us for a second. Now what?
No, it does get cleaned up. Hamid, the CEO of the Color Dash, will send testimonies if you guys request it, of cities that say the cleanup has been awesome, because I mean, it's 100% biodegradable. It washes away with water. I mean, you might see a little bit of color and cracks, but it all goes away within time. I mean, not like a long period of time or anything.
So where's your source of water for cleaning up that day?
Well, we have a couple options. I mean, we can talk with the fire department or get hoses from a landscaping company, or
Al?
Thank you for bringing this event to Winona, first of all.
yep.
I've been on the websites, I've done some research on the Color Dash. It seems to be very popular and has been for a number of years, so it would be wonderful for people in Winona to participate in it. But I just have a few questions, and I ask the same question of our Public Works Director that I did earlier of the event, which is, this is going to be held in the Prairie Island area. And I would ask if, burning those infected ash trees would have an impact for this event, or would they or the burning itself would stop during this event, as you indicated for the Boats and Bluegrass Festival? That's my first question.
I could make a comment about if they're breathing the colors, they're not gonna really worry about the smoke.
Well, that's my next question, so.
But yes, we will, if,
Okay.
with this event going on, we will accommodate them and shut down the smoke for
Okay.
that also.
Now, my understanding is that this is an event where at certain points in the race that colored cornstarch is kind of thrown out to the participants.
Yep.
And they come back afterwards. I mean, that's the cool part of it. They come back full of color and things like that, and they get their picture taken, and it's kind of a cool event. But my question is, I've done some research on this, and I think people in Winona are very sensitive to particulates in the air. And we've kind of looked toward how people, are inhaling those things, and do you have any assurance that when you do throw this material out, this cornstarch with the coloring in it, that people won't be breathing it, or would those people have a concern about the cornstarch being, inhaled?
No, there shouldn't be any concern. It's non-toxic.
Well, so is we'd argue with Fraxan about being toxic or non-toxic, but this is particulate matter, which, which
Yeah.
is a concern.
I guess I'm not 100% on that answer, but I've like researched a lot of it, and I've never seen that as a problem with people that have done it. Never were concerned with the inhaling. I mean, it's harmless.
Well, I guess what some people say is harmless, other persons, and I've been on the website and I've done some research as well. Those people say it's a concern. And, the website also states that you can request that you wear goggles or masks to prevent inhaling. And
Yeah.
I guess my point would be, I would go along with this as long as you make it clear to people that, they have this option to wear the goggles or a mask to prevent inhalation of the color in the cornstarch material.
Yep, definitely, and it says that in the registration and everything for it as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mary?
I agree with Councilman Thurley. Thanks for bringing this here. However, I'm still very concerned about the plan for the cleanup. I know you have every intent to get it clean. But you got me concerned there when you were saying, well, we might talk to the fire department, we might talk to landscape. Now, I want to talk about time here. This is set for Sunday, September 24th,
Yep.
21st, correct?
Yep.
Okay, I know these things take a long time to plan, and you've already got a lot of work done, but would it be a killer if we said come back in 2 weeks with your final plan? Tell us the details of how you're gonna clean up.
Yeah, we can definitely do
I know
that.
that would make us feel better. I don't know if you're gonna, right now, it's very difficult. The concept, great idea. The cleanup, that's tough, and we do have a lot of staff members who are saying they're not for this, they're for the concept. And you yourself, I appreciate your candor, but, well, maybe we'll look into this and maybe we'll look into that. If you took 2 weeks, would that kill the project? Taking
No,
2 more weeks?
I don't think so.
I would just say to Councilman Craig's point that the request by staff is to prepare a license. And so during that process, perhaps some of your concerns, as well as mine, and perhaps others on council, could be addressed.
Please, a detailed one, because some of the things you were mentioning, well, it's a fire department, well, then it costs the city money. Landscape, well, then they would have to volunteer. So these
Yeah.
things are, you'd have to, be detailed. You've already talked to so-and-so, they are willing on this date. How many gallons?
Okay.
It'd be a truck of X number of gallons, because it would probably have to be bringing in water trucks. And, also, if during that time, if staff hasn't already contacted the other municipalities where this was, and have we done that yet? And?
Mayor and council, we sent out an email to a group of park rec directors in southern Minnesota. If you just think about southern 1/3 of Minnesota, we got about 10 responses back. 10 of the 10 were positive with the event as far as the concept, the way the event was handled by the Color Dash organization. Of the 10, 2 had comments where they had to go back and do cleanup. In those cases, those park rec departments then, it did take staff time to go back and clean up, because in those particular cases, the Color Dash event was already moving on to their next event. We certainly could, in the license agreement, include caveats for cleanup, or if cleanup wasn't done appropriately, we can certainly put caveats in the license agreement if you prefer. To that point, we can have those details, any details you brought up to this point included in the license agreement. My last comment would be is that we're also concerned because you just approved the Boats and Bluegrass license agreement. That's 2 days after this event in the same location. So we want to make sure that we keep that in mind as well.
Thank you, Chair.
Are we prepared to go ahead and direct staff to prepare the license agreement, including the stipulations for all of the points that we have mentioned?
There is a motion on the floor to approve.
Right.
Okay, but would that include this?
With the understanding that those details would be worked out in the license agreement, or?
It's your motion, so if you want your motion to be to direct staff to prepare that license agreement?
Is that included in your motion?
Yes.
As well as having the organization bring forth a detailed,
I
Plan
understand
for
that
cleanup.
the license agreement would include a detailed plan for the cleanup. Is that true? Would it?
I'd like to hear it from them. And then we would agree to that plan, because it's really, it should be their responsibility to communicate with whomever's gonna bring the water, et cetera.
Am I assuming too that the license agreement would come back to council for approval?
For final approval? You could.
Okay. I think that would,
Yeah.
Chad?
Mayor and council, sorry to interrupt. I just want clarification on, we as staff would typically work, well, we've already worked with Marissa, that's why she's here tonight. We would continue to work with her to bring the event. Are you asking that she bring a detailed plan before the license agreement? Or would you like the detailed plan to come with the license agreement? And the reason I ask that specific question is because typically when we prepare the license agreement with the city attorney's office, those details of her event plan come out, they're fleshed out during that time.
Whatever's always
so-
worked in the past.
Okay. And then.
And again, what we heard tonight, and again, I appreciate your candor, but, well, we'll do this, we'll try to do this, it's gotta be more definitive.
Okay.
And then just last comment, it may take us more than 2 weeks then to detail
Whenever it's
that
ready.
plan, so. Okay.
Other comments before we vote? Okay, we'll prepare to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Next item is item 3.6. It's an appeal of snow removal charges by Jennifer Monsos, the property owner at 601 East Fifth Street. And is Ms. Monsos here?
Do we have questions? Anybody want to make a motion? George?
I guess just like to hear from her what's all, I know we have it here, but detailed here a little more for us here, whatever you
Okay.
can tell us about this incident or.
Yep, it was March 6th, was the date that it was posted apparently on the building. I don't live in the building. I have 3 tenants upstairs, my son and 2 others. I arrived on 3/7 to collect rent and noticed that the note was on the door and that the area had been shoveled. I didn't know who shoveled it at that time. I did take pictures of my property and the properties directly to the east, the properties directly to the south, and also the properties in front of my other rental property. Our property, after whatever went over it, I don't know if they take a bobcat or what, still had ice on it. It was that time period when pretty much all of Winona was a big sheet of ice. I left a message on 3/7 for a return call, asking, what had happened. I got no return call until I sent a copy of the bill back a month or so later. I talked to my son, who is responsible for keeping that area clean. He said that he had put 200 pounds of a salt sand mix on top of the ice and was chipping away at it as he could. But I have pictures that show every other house around ours was just as bad. We, again, took pictures all over the city of Winona. My son thought that we had come with a quad and taken the ice off because he got up in the morning after he got home from work and noticed that it was gone. We're not completely sure. There was 24 hours between notice and removal. It takes 2 days for me to get the letter because we live in Fountain City. So I don't even get notice for 2 days that the snow needs to be removed. So even if, I would have not had any idea other than stopping to collect rent. So if you want to see the pictures, I've got time and I've got date stamped pictures on my phone that
We
you
have
can
them
look
in our
at.
packet.
So you have pictures that he took, not me.
Oh, okay, I didn't know where they came from, but I know we have pictures.
I didn't provide any pictures. I wanted them date stamped,
Well,
which is
these are
what's on
from
my phone.
inspections, I guess.
My property still had ice all over it after they got done. If I would have paid someone privately to do that and I would have had ice still remaining, I wouldn't have paid the bill either. There was ice all in front of my garage, down the side. It was impossible to remove with a shovel. And I feel like it should have been uniform. You know, you didn't do this, the house right next door to mine wasn't done. The house to the east, the house to the south wasn't done. The house directly across the street to the west wasn't done, only mine.
Okay. Any questions?
Well, I have a question about the context for this, because I know this was a hideous winter for ice. Many places.
Yes.
But the memorandum from the building inspector said that this was one of numerous properties that complaints came in about this. So were they all cleaned in the same prompt time? And are there other people who are requesting abatement for the service?
Yes, Mayor and Council. There were numerous complaints that day. I do believe it was almost a week past when we had the ice storm, and that's when we had given extra time for homeowners, tenants to clean off their sidewalks, and it just so happens that Ms. Montzos's properties was one of them that got tagged. And the one next door, if you look at the pictures, you can clearly see that the one dated on the later one after, it looks like that the Bobcat had gone through, the next door to the east is definitely cleaned.
I have a picture of the one directly to the east, and it's not cleaned, if you'd like to see it. This is directly to the east of my house. That's not clean. That's the whole block going east. This is my property after you went through the Bobcat. All of the sand and salt had been removed. It was so slippery after you went through the Bobcat that I almost fell down on my own lot. This is the house directly across to the west. That's not done. This is a one block down from me. Corner's not done. This is dated the 7th. This is in front of, this is my other rental property right here. It's got a little bitty sidewalk. This is going down toward the river from that property. That wasn't done. This was the 7th.
I'm gonna interrupt here. None of us can see what you're showing. I mean, I guess.
would be happy to show
Well, why
them.
don't you return to the podium?
Okay, but if you would like to see them, you can pass it around as well.
All right, thank you.
But that's not true. I haven't seen his pictures either, so I don't know what you're seeing.
Now, do you respond, or do you cite houses if only if a complaint has been
Only
made
if,
against that
only if a
address?
complaint has been called in on that
About
property.
that address? So if you
Correct.
see other properties
If
in the
there's other
neighborhood-
properties in the general vicinity, we also tag those.
Okay. So what about the one across the street, or the?
That one did not get tagged.
Was that noticed or noted?
I did not notice that one.
Okay. Okay.
And if I could receive a phone call, if you're gonna if I get a complaint on one of my properties, I would really like to know. I mean, a phone call would be preferable to tagging me, and then 2 days later, I get in the mail a notice in Fountain City saying that, you know, this happened. We had no way to avoid this because we had no notification other than a pink tag on a door that I never see, because I don't live there.
I would guess that the telephone notice could always be disputed. A letter sent or with a copy.
A
is
telephone
probably not
notice
going-
with, I called them on the 7th, and I got no return phone call.
Well, it had already been done, hadn't it?
It had already been done. I wanted a return phone call to find out who had done it. I didn't at that point know if the city had done it or if one of my neighbors had done it, because neighbors have occasionally helped out who have snow blowers. I wasn't aware of what had happened. I left a message saying, could you please call me back and tell me what's going on? Because none of my neighbors' properties were plowed and I need to know what happened. I got no return phone call from the city until I sent a letter along with a copy of the bill stating I'm not going to pay this because. So then I got a call after I sent the letter with the bill. I thought the bill also, I thought if I was getting a bill, it would be $60 or $70. This bill came for, I don't even remember how much it was because I sent the whole bill right back, $300 and some dollars. And there was still, I can show you the picture, there was still ice on my sidewalk when they got done.
I'm sure there could be some refreezing.
I was there within hours of them doing it because I was collecting rent on the 7th.
Is it typical that if a property owner, you know, lives, do you notice the people at the house or the owner of the property? So if she lives in Fountain City, she receives a letter, it goes to her in Fountain City?
We typically tag the property,
Okay.
and a copy is also mailed to the property owner.
So then you did receive a letter eventually to your Fountain City address?
I did not. Here's why that happened. With my water bills for 2 times, I had sent a change of address because I moved from 601 East 5th to Fountain City in 2012. And I had sent, can you please change my address? Everything kept going to 601. I had called once as well when I got tagged for a weed or something. Can you please change my address, you know, to S3560 County Road P, Fountain City? And they were still going to that address. I have 2 properties in Winona. I have one on High Forest and then this one on East 5th. And both of them continually go. I think it got fixed now that I've, you know, complained more, but I had asked for the address to be changed. And it went to 601, so I did get a phone call from a tenant saying that the letter had arrived.
Okay. Randy, you want to say something else?
They do get sent to what is on record at the county.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Jerry?
When did it snow? I mean, this particular snow, I mean, the nearest one to it.
It was, if my memory is correct, it was roughly 7 days prior. Because we were informed by our director to give extra time for people to clean their sidewalks.
And your son was living at, you say he resides there. Was he living there during that period of time?
And he had called us and said, I went and got sand and salt, I'm sprinkling it on. He said, I can't get up the ice with the shovel. He said, all the houses around look the same, what should I do? And I said, keep salting and sanding it, and when it gets warmer, you'll be able to chip it up.
We keep talking ice. Ice was the residue afterwards, it was snow.
It was packed down ice. It was
This
one
was
of those.
packed down ice.
It was one of the ice storms that we had.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell me what the time frame is between, you know, you receive a complaint about a sidewalk, and then how, again, do you notify the homeowner that this has to be taken care of, or the city will do it for them?
We received a complaint, a phone complaint, from one of the neighboring properties, that would be my guess.
No, somewhere, yeah.
And and then we gave them a couple extra days.
How did you let them know that they were on a timer to get the sidewalk shoveled?
It is on the violation notice.
And how is the violation notice delivered, I guess? That's my question, this whole thing.
Okay, there's a pink copy that is taped to the front door of the property. And then the white copy is sent to the homeowner's address.
So then why didn't that pink notice get noticed when it was put on the door?
I don't live there.
But-
It's on the front, okay.
but-
The building this building that my son lives in
I
is a
understand.
half a block long.
Right,
And the pink notice was on the door. He works from 2 to 11. He parked on the other side of the street because it was alternate side parking. So he was parked on a side of the street. He comes out the back of the apartment. He would have not seen the pink note on the front door of the commercial side of the building. He comes out the back to his pickup truck that's parked on Caramona Street, gets in his car, drives to work at Windcraft. He would have never seen the pink notice because it's not on the apartment door, it's on the commercial property side that nobody uses that entrance at all.
So where's the mailbox?
The mailbox is on the other side of the building. It's on the Caramona Street side,
Okay.
next to the side door. It wasn't on that door, it was on the front door. It was posted on the 6th, dated at, I think, like 10 a.m.-ish. We were there on the 7th, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's when we noticed it had been done already. We didn't have a couple days. If you would have sent me a notice on the 3rd and said, please have this done by the 7th, we would have made arrangements somehow. We had no idea, living where we live, that there was that much of a problem until you had already done it. We had no notification.
Michelle?
But you did live there previously, so you know that city ordinance says that 24 hours after
understand that.
fall. So you would have known,
We
even
knew
without the notice, that
Okay.
this had to be done. And I will say the city was very kind, they gave everyone an extra week
We didn't
to
know we had an
attempt.
extra week. We didn't have
But then
a
even
notice.
sooner it should have been done, because.
My son,
'cause-
okay,
But I
my
mean, it's the
son-
ordinance is that it's the 24 hours from
Okay.
snowfall, not 24 hours from notification, which
This was
is.
an ice storm.
Yep.
There's pictures all over town. There was people that could not get this ice up. He put salt and sand on it. He said it was not slippery. My other tenant said it wasn't slippery because there was no way to get this ice up with a snow shovel and a snow blower.
But
It
my
doesn't
point is,
happen.
you're saying you didn't have notification. There's notification, and yes, it was bad, but people were able to clear the snow off and make pathways throughout the
Some
city. Now,
peop-
not
we had
all
a
of them were
pathway.
great, but people were out working on it, and I
And
understand
was
he
too.
works.
He was out
But
working
the
on it.
pictures that we have don't depict what you're saying. It looks to me like.
Can I see the pictures that you're looking at? I've never seen the pictures you're
Yes.
looking at.
It doesn't look like any attempt was made to clear the exits and entrances near the schoolway here. So from my perspective, it looks like no effort was made on his part to clear that. So what I'm saying is that the notification is a kindness kind of, but really, we all
There
know
is-
that within 24 hours of snowfall, we're supposed to clear our sidewalks. That's
This
just the way the
actually,
ordinance
this
is
was,
written.
was this after? This was after, this was before. I can see where he has made an effort. You're seeing the snow bank on that 3-7, must have been the before picture when the pink note is on that front door. If you look going to the east, he's got that shoveled and salted. He's also got it shoveled and salted. You're seeing a snow bank, not the actual sidewalk itself from this picture. I have a picture of the sidewalk itself if you'd like to see it.
I'm just
Looking
saying,
to,
It doesn't look clear to me. You can't get through there without going through a snowbank, which they're required to remove that on the corner. So,
And-
what I'm saying is from this picture that I'm looking at, it does not look like he attempted to clear it.
I have a picture of the one directly across the street from me as well, on the 7th, after he did mine, that you can't get through.
But we're not talking about that property, we're talking about your property.
Should it not be uniform citywide? Why am I targeted and the
He was
person around the
responding
corner?
to a complaint. I have a question for Randy. Have there been other complaints on this property? Do you know?
There has been multiple complaints on this property, not only the snow and ice. There's been weed complaints,
One weed complaint.
and there was also a complaint a few years ago about water going across the sidewalk. And that's about all I can remember.
We've had no noise complaints, we've had really good tenants. It's, we try to keep up our properties too. We're very cognizant of keeping up our properties. Sometimes when you have tenants who are responsible for mowing, they might not hit everything. But we have always tried to really be aware of who our tenants are and, that they're being quiet and well-mannered, which you don't get a lot in Winona.
All right,
Thank you. Any other questions of Ms. Monsos? Okay, thank you.
Mayor, just one. The service was provided of snow clearing, correct?
Correct.
So
Not a
that
good
service-
job, though.
No, but it was provided, but I say it was, you know, as you said, not satisfactory.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry?
Just one thing here, and it's just, if you look at the photos that we have, it's quite clear. Staff did an excellent job. We posted the yellow notification right under the address that says 601, and that is the address on record. So where the people go in and out, it's really not where we know. You put it on the main entrance, and here, right on the picture, it says right under 601.
Is there a motion anywhere? Hearing none, we'll move on.
Item 3.7 is to appeal the junk removal charges at the property at 620 East 3rd Street by Jennifer Beatty. Is she here?
Jennifer Beatty here? Guess not.
It's too bad.
Any motion? Hearing none, we'll move on.
Item 3.8 is a request to close Johnson Street for a neighborhood picnic on Sunday, May 18th.
I would move to approve that request.
Motion by Pam,
Second.
seconded by George. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.9 is a request to close Lake Park Drive by Windcraft for their company picnic on Saturday, July 12th.
Move to approve that request.
Second.
Motion by George, seconded by Michelle. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.10 is a request to eliminate 2-hour parking on 4th Street and to provide 1 15-minute parking.
Move to introduce the attached ordinance.
Motion by Al,
Second.
seconded by Michelle. Discussion? Hearing none. Vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.11 is a request for vacation of the alley on Block 128 to the original plat. This is the Cathedral School. The hearing would be held on Monday, May 19th.
I would move to set that hearing date for May 19th at 6:30.
Second.
Motion by George, seconded by Jerry. Any discussion?
Yes, spent a lot of time in that alley as a kid.
Did you
Were
put
you
up
a
a
good
plaque
boy
or something
or
over
a
there
bad
for
boy?
it?
Yeah, it's usually cleaning erasers for something bad I did.
And just a comment, it's very interesting to see the, in our packet, there's copies of the original plat. And fascinating to see that part of our Winona history.
Well, you want to see more of those, I know where you can see a lot more of them.
Engineering department, right?
Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Under new business, item 5.1 is the resolution of support for the application to the MHFA and Federal Home Loan Bank by the Hiawatha Valley Mental Health Center.
Move to approve the attached resolution.
Second.
Motion by Jerry, seconded by Michelle. Any comments?
I support the motion. I'm just curious as to whether, or what the location might be for this,
I
this
wondered
facility.
as well. Can they disclose that at this time?
And maybe not until things move forward, or
Lucy?
They are researching appropriately zoned sites at this time, and they, if they find a site, it of course would be contingent on the funding being in place.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.2 is a contract with the International Association of Firefighters, Local 575.
Move to approve the proposed labor agreement.
Second.
Motion by Michelle. We'll give that one to Paul. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.3 is the contract with the International Association of Firefighters, Local 575, Fire Captains.
Move to approve approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion by George, seconded by Paul. Any discussion? You look pained over there, Al.
Did Paul second that, or?
Yes.
I did, he did.
He did. Did he second the previous motion?
Yes.
He's very
Okay.
quiet. Al.
Okay,
I can barely hear him.
I'm hearing
thank
him.
you,
Okay, that's good.
thank you.
It's because his microphone's up in the air again.
Yeah, that's what it is, okay.
There we go.
Thank you, Paul.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.4 is the part-time firefighter hourly wages.
Move to approve the increase for the part-time firefighters.
Motion by George, clearly seconded by
That one.
Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Way to speak up.
Any other discussion?
Mayor,
Hearing-
just, what is the entry level now for a part-time firefighter per hour, do we know, or do you know offhand?
I don't know the number offhand.
Okay, I know I had the
It's
honor,
2% larger.
I had the honor, I had the honor to serve in there in 1993 and 94, and I believe my salary was $7.50.
Woo!
So,
All right, any other comments? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.5 is the Sobieski Park Building.
do
Would
we
like
be,
to, George, you
begin
want to
this with
start?
a motion, or?
You want to make a motion?
I can certainly do that. According to our information, our agenda item, and if this is the right thing to do, is I would recommend including this project in the 2015 Capital Improvements Program for construction.
Second.
Motion by George, seconded by Jerry. Discussion?
Is that,
Go ahead, Michelle.
is that staying with option B?
That's staying with option B, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And the fundraising group is ready to go. I see Boomer in the audience. If we pass this motion, or anybody else?
Just comment, Mayor, I think this is a good project with a lot of neighborhood support, and it'll only grow from our hopeful approval of this project.
I agree, and I think we have to do something with the building anyway, so let's do it. George?
And then, if this passes tonight, then that would give them the authorization to officially begin their campaign?
I think they can start whenever they're ready.
Okay. Okay.
Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 7.1 is council concerns.
We'll start with Michelle tonight.
Thank you for letting me be gone during a very thick council packet meeting. I appreciate that very much. When I came home and I saw the giant packet, I thought I took the right week off. And just acknowledging that I'm gonna run again in, I guess, May. When is filing day?
May 20th.
May 20th. I will be here to file.
Jerry?
Oh. Yeah, I'll be running again, too. We were talking a little bit of history, and the mayor and I were chatting the other day on how something a few years ago, not so few, it'd be mid-'80s, if that would have changed, what we'd be talking about today. It was back around in the mid to late '80s, if you recall, there was a discussion about should we put more money into our existing library, or should we go to a new library and move it closer to the river? And it's a big conversation. As a matter of fact, that's how I ended up eventually deciding to run for council, as did a number of other people. And that, among other things, really changed the face of the council. It was almost a complete changeover. And that was one of the main issues during that period of time. But the group who wanted to move it was an exceptional group of people, and it just turned out that, the majority decided to keep the library where it is. Now for the few million-dollar question, does anybody remember where the library was going to go?
Second and Huff.
Where's the bridge gonna go?
Second and Huff.
There you go.
I'll play your street man anytime.
You made the right decision.
I'm locked in.
Anything else?
No, that'd be it.
Okay. Al?
I did remember that, and thank you, Jerry.
Oh,
for
and one
bringing it
other
up.
thing,
Okay.
the mayor was also involved at that point, and that's, I think, where we first met. He was involved in one of the organizations, and I was involved in another, and I know most everybody in Winona was involved in organizations at that time, but I'm straight in.
I was on the reuse committee for the library, which we found no viable reuse other than keeping it as a library.
That's right.
Why am I not surprised that's where you were? The reuse of an old building.
Well, speaking of history, I just wanted to pass along greetings and salutations from a former member of this body. I had an opportunity a few days ago to talk to former council member Dieter Milamanka in Washington, and he asks me to send his greetings to everyone here and those folks in Winona that remember Dieter. And he did say one thing that surprised me a little bit, I guess. He said, in about a week, I'll be 81. So, happy birthday, Dieter. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Paul?
I have a couple of things. One is I would like to have on the agenda in the second meeting in June, an update on the Wada property and the discussions that the Port Authority may be having with them at our second meeting in June, to see if we can just get an update as to see where that's progressing, if any. And the other thing is that I'd like to make a motion that the Green East route that was in prior to the change be reinstated effective June the 1st, 2014. This will enable administration to submit to council for approval a route modification at its meeting on May 19th, which resolved the issues presented, and in particular the reestablished stop at Winona Clinic's south entrance, so that unless a better solution becomes evident and still become effective on the same date. In other words, what I'm saying is to go back, because a lot of the riders that I've heard from, and not on just one occasion, on 3 separate occasions, and different group of people, is that their request to be dropped at the Winona Clinic entrance has not been honored. The idea that the hospital would provide assistance has not come through. And also that these people, a lot of them are severely handicapped and are required to walk from one end all the way down to the other end of the clinic. And there are ample spaces in front of the clinic. It would be west of the main entrance to the clinic. And there's also another door that's between the parking ramp and on that end of the clinic that could be utilized. Right now it says employees only, but could also be utilized. So it gives, so the motion is that we go back.
You can't make a motion, I don't think, under council concerns, but you can certainly request that this be put on the agenda.
Put on the agenda, and I'm enough lead time on it so that it can be resolved hopefully before then.
Thank you. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Pam?
No.
George?
Just a couple items here. I have an email, Judy, or a note, however you want to put it. The Mankato Avenue traffic, train crossing, again, is getting more and more congested, more and more of a problem. It's 3-4 days, 3-4 times, 5 times a day that this is happening. Then I was given something here, we were passed on, that Brian got some cost estimates. Is this a project that we are going to go forward with?
I think the intent is to come back to council
Okay,
with those cost estimates.
okay, so this is something that then we are investigating
Yes.
into about doing, so.
Yes.
Okay, and it includes flashing lights to let people know ahead of time that train is going to be switching or is switching, whatever, because I know Saturday they were lined up. You know, I feel sorry for the first person up there has to stop. He or she can't get out.
They're stuck,
And I know one day I didn't do it, but I thought about directing traffic, just having people back up so they could go the other way. But I did not do that. Maybe in the future I will. It's also a problem on the other side of going on the north side, but you got better visibility as you come in Mankato, but you don't if you're traveling from, like from the hospital area. You don't see it till you kind of really get around there, so. Okay, and also I had a person contact me, Keith, about wood burning at our compost site. Is that allowed to do, wood burning?
Yes, correct for burning.
Okay, so I know, say what, they were burning last week, I know there was some smoke inside the Peerless Chain building, not smoke, but you could smell it. And also from homes, actually, people from down in Homer were talking about it. I don't know if there's a resolution to this or not, or if there's something that can be done or whatever, but, you know, we're aware of those things, and, you know, I know it's a tough one to work on solving, so, thank you.
That's it? Okay, thank you.
Under the consent agenda, there are 4 items. Approval of the minutes from April 21st, the final adoption of an ordinance to rezone Valley Oaks from R1 to R1.5, a claim against the city by Kathy Olson, and a claim against the city by Mike Borkowski.
Move to approve the consent items?
Second.
Motion by Al, seconded by Michelle. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by George, seconded by Michelle. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Adjourn.